I was on mute, but I caught myself this time. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Happy time zone. Meow. Hi, Deoxyribo. Hello, Mikey. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Lindsay. I like your duck, Lindsay. Hello to everyone. Welcome in. Welcome to the Stitch stream. Yes, happy November. The best month of the year is over, but that's okay because we're still in the Burr months. And, you know, we can look forward to next year. Also, Halloween doesn't have to fully end. Hello, Sky Jim Speaks. Hello, Limical. Welcome, everyone. Oh yeah, finish cooking your pasta. Pasta for dinner sounds great, Sarah. And it is still a pumpkin month, Deoxyribo. That is so right. What I usually do this past weekend, but I didn't yet, is I swap all of my Halloween decorations for like my general autumnal ones, but what that essentially means in my house is turning every jack-o'-lantern into just a pumpkin. So any decorations I have that are like jack-o'-lanterns become just pumpkins. They lose their faces. That's that's sort of my delineation between general autumnal decorations and Halloween decorations. Oh, I'm messing up some thread back here already. Need to just check this out. See what I accidentally did. Okay, I'm gonna pull this out. I've been keeping this like thread for the subscriber shelf in here just because it's long and I don't feel like doing anything with it yet. But that means that I occasionally get it in the way. Okay. Let's see. Let me just fix this for a moment. Tom is going to continue to stubbornly wear his jack-o'-lantern baseball hat into November, December, and beyond. Well, hey, I'm all about the Halloween things all year round, so I'm here for that. Hi, Joe. Happy November. Yeah, I mean, I guess an obvious way that I'm here for Halloween all year round is that the jack-o'-lantern emotes are here to stay. I might mix it up a little bit on the free tier of emotes, just because you don't have as many options for those. There will always be at least one, because that's just my kind of style, to have at least one jack-o'-lantern, because that's not really a Halloween thing for me, that's just a me thing. But yeah, I can't remember how many are on there right now, but we might mix it up. But yeah, love the jack-o'-lanterns in the chat, even though Halloween's over. Love seeing it. Okay, I just gotta get this thread back on here. Had it all set up. I was already like starting to stitch before the stream. And then I messed it up because that's what I do here on Stitch streams. I mess things up. All right. There we go. So just doing our follower shelf, subscriber shelf. That really hasn't been wanting to focus today. I had one good week where I streamed in 4K, but that was the week when everything crashed, for those of you who were here. So now we're back to 1080p to make sure that things don't crash. Never done a project that I didn't mess up in some way, says Tom. Deoxyribo says I mess up my thread all the time. Oh yeah, I mean, it is fully just a part of doing it, and this is barely even messing up. This is just like a combination of me doing a weird lazy thing and then like just I don't know, having trouble recovering from a fumble because I'm hosting a stream at the same time. It's totally the kind of thing that if you were, you know, just like stitching while you watch TV or stream, for any of you who mess up on the stream, it's like a mistake that wouldn't even really make you pause. You've all watched me do much bigger mistakes with patterns, messing up patterns. We're starting a new pattern today. Hello, Rogan. Welcome to the chat. Ooh, Deoxyribo, you're doing a Gourds project next, perhaps? That's exciting. What is it, kind of like a still life of gourds? Tell us more about these gourds. I'm moving away. Ah, okay, it's, I think it's in part because I'm sitting closer to the mic, so let's turn. Oh, totally mute. Okay, let's turn it down on OBS then, because that is as far down as it could go on the mixer. This is the problem I had with my latest video as well, is that the microphone was really peaking, and I could not turn it down any lower. I was like, well, I guess this is what we're doing. Okay, so now we'll keep going down even further. Let's turn it down that much. That way this can be about here. All right, so now it's down to that. I'll turn it down a little bit more here. We'll see how that goes. You can all let me know. I mean, part of it is I need to just, I test the microphone like I'm here, and then I start stitching, and I go right here, right up close to it. But anyways, always, here, we'll keep moving it a little that way. Always with the sound problems. I've only been doing this for like 15 years, and yet I've still never mastered good audio quality unless I had a professional like set things up for me. The daily podcast I did had pretty good sound quality because there was an engineer who like set up templates for us that we used, and then I had a very specific way that I recorded the audio every day, and plopped it into the little like template that made it sound even better. And that's like the only time I've consistently had good audio, and even then it was not always good. Okay, cool. Tom and Limical say it sounds better. Skyjim, are you saying that the new pattern that I've got the preview of up in the lower right-hand corner looks pretty? And I do not think offhand I'm familiar with Stitching Land's work, so I'll have to look up Stitching Land. But yeah, that's the pattern that we're going to be working on today. Which I have actually done on a Stitch stream before when I was just like trying it out earlier this year. Okay, I'm just gonna finish off this thread if I can. Not that way. Let's see. Ugh. I keep trying to find a way to get the camera to have like a full bird's eye view and be like up here. Which, as I say it, should be completely obvious how to do that. But I think what I'm running into as an issue is it's something about like where the cross stitch needs to be for me to stitch it, and then where the camera needs to be, and then it blocking my face or blocking my view of what my hands are doing. Again, I'm still working on it. I think if I could get the camera coming from over there instead of from over here, that would work, but I don't have anything over there that I can put this tripod arm onto. Continuing to mess around with it. Mikey, it is a Friends of Dorothy pattern, if you want it to be. It is an Emerald City pattern. It is the Wizard of Oz, because it is November, and that means it is the month of Wicked. Wicked for Good coming out. Rogan, that is a definite perk there of just stripping all the sound from videos and calling it a day. I remember I was at a like creator workshop boot camp thing with Ricky Pointer, another deaf YouTube creator, and they were trying to help like her and I both with audio, and they were showing Ricky how you can visualize it with like the peaking. There's like visuals on the computer, the like green, the yellow, the red, and it was, I don't know, I thought it was a cool way to like show someone who couldn't like hear the audio quality themselves how you can like visually see it. But then as a hearing person, I can do both, and I still am really bad at getting the audio to sound good. But it was a cool thing to see a good instructor be like, hey, here's like a way that you can do this if you like want to still have audio in your videos, as at the time at least Ricky often did. Yeah, it was very cool. Ooh, Sarah, enjoy your pasta with pesto and extra spinach. Just looking at the chat a little bit. But yes, sorry if I got wicked stuck in your head for the notification. It just popped into my head. I was like, yep, this is what I'm doing for the little notification. One short stream. But yeah, this is a Wizard of Oz pattern by Jody Rice of Satsuma Street. I've not actually looked that up if Satsuma Street is like a larger pattern shop, because I got this pattern from the World of Cross Stitch magazine. And good hack for anyone who doesn't know, your local library, your public library, at least here in the States, most likely subscribes to a lot of magazines. And you can essentially subscribe to the magazine on Libby, and then you can get digital versions of magazines. So I'm subscribed to like a bunch of news magazines and like National Geographic and like the New Yorker and a handful of cross-stitching and crafting magazines. And you just get a little notification from Libby anytime there's a new issue each month or each quarter or what have you. And then you can like look at it digitally, so not physically, although your library might have print physical ones in the library. But it's an especially good hack for finding cross-stitch patterns, because they just come in the magazine, and then you can, you know, screenshot or take a photo or whatever, which maybe isn't like the best way to do it. So if you're able to throw a little donation to the pattern designer, or like if they have an online shop, maybe buy a pattern from them another time. Oh, hey, Planner Zoid Pretty Plays. Thanks for the follow. But yeah, definitely check out your local library and see what kind of crafting magazines or other magazines you can get. Like I said, I subscribe to things like the New Yorker and National Geographic, and oh boy, do I not keep up with reading every issue, but it's really cool to know that I can have access without having to pay for it, because while I would like to support good journalism and print media and all of that, it is not exactly in the budget right now, because they are all quite expensive and getting more expensive. So if you're also on a budget or just want to support the libraries, good way to do that. Libby magazine subscriptions through your public library. Oh, going back to audio stuff. Yeah, Rogan, waveforms, that's the way to go. And when you edit the same person talking for long enough, you can start to recognize what certain words in their voice look like in waveforms, which I think is so cool. Like when I was doing a daily podcast, I could edit it so fast because I knew exactly what the waveforms of my voice looked like. But then sometimes I would edit like Brian, who hosted Tech Meme Ride Home, and I got to know like what waveforms looked like when he said specifically the word quote. That was the word we said a lot because we were using a lot of quotes. And we'd be like, quote, pause, say the quote. And I knew exactly what the waveforms looked like when he said it and versus when I said it, and it looked different, which is very fascinating to me, that like different people's voices look different in waveforms. Also, for folks who are new, I know we just got a new follow from Planner Zoid Pretty Plays. What I'm doing right now is our warm-up cross stitch, which is our followers spools, and subscriber shelf. So each stream, I do a little spool where the color corresponds to the growth in followers since the start of the previous stream. And this week that was 6 followers. So for the second week in a row, we are at DMC color 720, because that is for the 5 to 10 follower range. And if you want to see the color code for this little spool project, you can go to my About tab, and there's a panel with the color code for it. And then also up here is the little shelf that we're starting to build with subscribers, since I recently got affiliate status. And so anytime people subscribe, they each get a little stitch to help build the shelf for the follower spools. And this is our spool done for today. 720, still doing the pumpkin spice orange. And that is our spool for the day. So we're going to move on to the Emerald City in just a minute. Once I finish this thread and stop dropping things everywhere. How are folks in terms of this? That was the weirdest grammatical way to start this question. But I was going to ask if folks are fans of Wicked, fans of The Wizard of Oz generally. Where do you all fall? Do you not care? Are you overwhelmed by the aggressive marketing? What's the vibe? I think most of us can agree that this is a cool looking pattern regardless. But curious how people feel about Wicked and The Wizard of Oz. I have my own thoughts that I'm sure I'll share ad nauseum. So I'm curious what other people have to say first. All right, let's get this up to something I can work with. And maybe we move this back. Or up. I feel like it could go up. Mikey loves the musical. Nice. I used to listen to the soundtrack all the time. I think the musical came out when I was like in middle school, which was a prime like musical theater listening time for me. So that was a good time for Wicked to be coming out. I definitely saw the national tour of it sometime around then, and it definitely continued to be a musical that I really, really liked, like through high school. My best friend and I don't think we actually got to perform it, but I remember we were rehearsing. We were going to do like the For Good song, is that it? But the big song, like for our senior year voice recital. The one that everyone does. I can't remember which one it is right now. But part of the point of this whole anecdote is that I have not really kept up with Wicked, to the point that when I saw the first movie, I like didn't remember a lot of the musical plot. I had reread the book, or finished it for the first time, shortly before I saw the movie. But I didn't really remember the musical, and I'm slightly trying not to, because I think it'll be a fun experience to see part 2 not really remembering what happens. So that's sort of where I'm at. Like, I know what happens from the book. I have seen the musical. I've listened to the musical a million times, but I don't fully remember the musical. So, yeah, I don't know. I just think it'd be kind of fun. Also, I don't really have time to revisit it before it comes out anyways. Oh, I love all the Wizard of Oz love in the chat. That's more where I come from with it as well. And I will say that, like, when the musical came out, I was just coming out of, like, an enormous Wizard of Oz obsession at the time. And somehow the musical, like, never resonated for me in that way. To me, it always felt like Wicked is part of my musical theater interests. It's not a part of my Wizard of Oz interests. Like, something about that didn't tie it together. But the movies super have. Like, the Wicked movie, I loved, and I thought it was, like, so in line with a lot of L. Frank Baum stuff in certain ways. I think maybe in the world building mostly. Yeah, like that, the movie reignited my love of the original Wizard of Oz books far more than the stage musical ever did, which might just be a me thing, but I don't know. I feel like there's maybe something to it. Okay, I wanna check out some of these longer comments about Wizard of Oz in the chat. Okay. Sarah grew up watching Wizard of Oz, wasn't impressed by some of the writing of Wicked the novel. Fair. Never seen the musical, heard some of the songs. They're pretty great. If you haven't seen the movie, I feel like there are a lot of people who weren't that interested in the musical, couldn't really get into the book, but liked the movie. I feel like I'm slightly in that category, but I definitely heard it from other people, and like a lot of people who just had no interest at all in any other incarnations of Wicked or maybe even of The Wizard of Oz who enjoyed the movie. It was a very good movie. Tom was super into Wizard of Oz as a kid, obsessed with Wicked Broadway, enjoyed the movie. Yeah, I feel like this too. I'm not like a super fan of the movie, but I love how many people are getting into it. And I really loved last year that it felt like for a little bit of time, there was this like enthusiasm around wanting to read the original Oz books. And like, that is such a niche fandom. And to see people excited about it was a very exciting time. Meow watched the musical in German once. I feel like this is a good one to translate into German. I don't know why, but I feel like something about like the rhythm and the language of it would work well for a German translation. Okay, Rogan hasn't seen the recent movies, but saw the musical. Ooh, worked with ASL interpreters on translations of some lyrics. That's really cool. And let's just say the musical's better than the book. I mean, yeah. Okay, Limical, part 1 was the first exposure to it in any capacity. I also feel like I don't super know what will happen in part 2. I know more than you do, because I remember some things. Sarah, you must be closer to my age to be creeped out by Return to Oz. That is a very specific generation of people who got creeped out by Return to Oz, the movie. For folks who don't know, it was a movie that came out in the 80s, I think, and it was meant to be like a sequel, but it was a very dark sequel, and it combined elements of like Land of Oz and Ozma of Oz, which are books 2 and 3 of the Oz series. It's creepy. Oh, hey, Dor. Half hour late. No worries. Just getting started on the main pattern here. I have a VHS copy of Return to Oz that I see on my shelf almost every day, and so I frequently have thoughts of like, ooh, I should watch this again. I did, I think, watch it last year, like, after Wicked made me want to go reread a bunch of the Oz books, and still creepy. Still completely creepy. Door's cross-stitching some moons and stars to put on a jacket. Is Return to Oz Labyrinth creepy? I think I need to rewatch Labyrinth before I can answer that. Because I mostly watched that as a kid, and I feel like maybe only once all the way through, which is wild to say as someone who's an enormous David Bowie fan and like a Muppets fan. I'm not that familiar with Labyrinth. I feel like I've mostly heard people say that Return to Oz is creepier than Labyrinth, though. I feel like that's the cultural consensus, but I don't know. Dor, you made your own pattern? That's exciting. I was going to bring my jacket that I want to start stitching on, but I did not finish designing it or like setting it up. So maybe next week. So for now, we're doing this Emerald City pattern that I've been working on for a while. And maybe I should actually start stitching instead of just yapping away. Excuse me. What do I want to start with? I think I want to start with these guys. And then maybe I'll start there, and I could, like, go over a little bit. Would that work? Sort of. Could sort of do that. Okay, and these are 7, 9, 8. First spool I found. Bam. Oh, I meant to warn about the ads coming. Okay, I need to refresh this. There's always these like little notifications in Stream Manager that I can't get rid of except by refreshing the page. All right. Oh, now the ads are actually starting. I was killing time, but here we are. Deoxyribo. Yeah. Putting thread on spools is one of those, like, activities that can either be kind of calming and therapeutic or super annoying. It just depends on your perspective at the time. Like, I have a lot that I need to organize still that I, like, thrifted and are on different kinds of bobbins, and it's been, like, over a year that I've been working on that project, because I just do, like, little bits of it here and there. But it does, some days my brain is just like, yeah, I can't follow this pattern that's overly complex right now, so I'm just gonna wind some floss onto these bobbins, and it's like, it's a similar kind of fix to cross-stitching. Scratch is a similar itch for me. Limical did all your spooling at work last week. I mean, that's the way to do it if you can get away with it. Is it boss makes $1, I make a dime? That's why I cross-stitch on company time. Welcome back from the ads, folks. Welcome back. Dora, I was just seeing your talk about designing in the chat. Are you using normal Aida cloth? You said you're using it on a stretchy hoodie, so that might be what you want to do, because that'll, you know, give it some structure behind it. But a thing that has been popping up a lot lately online is people not realizing that you need to use... Sorry, I got distracted looking at a problem with my pattern. When you want to, like, stitch on clothes and then you want to take away the Aida cloth behind it, you should be using something that I'm forgetting the name of right now. Waste canvas. It's called waste canvas, and it looks pretty much like Aida. It functions like Aida for the way that you stitch on it, but it's dissolvable. You can spray it with a little bit of water, and then you can pull the threads of it out with tweezers. And this might not be what you have done, Dor. I'm just saying this as a PSA for everyone else because you made me think of it. But there's been a lot of, like, TikToks recently of people doing this, but not saying that they're using waste canvas. And so then people will watch that and they'll use normal Aida, and then they, like, try to take the Aida out the way that they saw in the TikTok, and it's not working because it's normal Aida cloth and not waste canvas. But if you accidentally do that, you can do what Dora's doing and turn them into patches. That is very cool. That is actually one of the... I mean, that's something you can do just because it's cool and you want to do it, but that is actually a solution that I've seen people recommend when people have accidentally used Aida when they wanted to use waste canvas. Yeah, Skygem, that's I'm literally talking about the cross-stitch subreddit, where it's like, but it's been like a real increase recently. I feel like the last few months, like since the summer, it's been more and more people who are having trouble with that. Like I feel like there didn't used to be that many people on the subreddit being like, what did I do? So I think there really must have been a few like videos that went viral. But in terms of pattern designing, Skygem uses Stitch Fiddle, Door used Google Sheets. I use Flosscross. Keep forgetting like the words for everything right now. But yeah, I use something called Flosscross. I gotta check out Stitch Fiddle. But Flosscross also has like the DMC codes in it and is similar, just kind of like painting with pixel art. But then you can export it for PDFs that work with like Markup RXP and Pattern Keeper. So for anyone who's getting interested in maybe designing their own patterns, there's a few tips. Okay, and I didn't realize that I am going to be stitching in between up here. Ooh, Stitch Fiddle has more colors than Flosscross. Okay, that's interesting. I might have to look into that at some point. Ooh, this is a long piece of floss. All right, so we're going to do this blue. The grass is blue in this pattern. Because, I don't know, it's Oz. Maybe they're coming from the Munchkin Land side in this portrayal of Emerald City. And this is stitching on even weave, by the way. For the last several weeks, I've been stitching on linen. Oh, no. I've got all these clips on here for excess fabric, and I just knocked one off. But yeah, I talked a lot about that being my first time stitching on linen and how it was, that might just stay there. And how it can be very uneven. Oh no, I have another issue. Ugh. Okay. Where can I go here? We're just gonna take this off. But yeah, even weave, as you can see from how it looks, is very even. There's not the little like rough patches that you get with linen, which can give you a cool vintage look if you want it, but can also be really annoying when you're stitching. Even weave is just very nice and pleasant to stitch on, but it is also smaller. So you stitch over 2. This is 28 count, which means the stitch sizes themselves, the little X's, are about equivalent to 14 count Aida. Or are exactly equivalent to 14 count Aida. But they look a little bit neater, I guess, because the holes are smaller. Oh, Sarah, thank you for subscribing. That's so exciting and so nice. It's exciting to see the ghosts again. I'll have to think if I want to do non-Halloween things. But also in a little bit, maybe when I switch over floss or something, we'll get your stitch for the subscriber shelf. Very exciting. Well, I guess I could just do that now. I kind of had it set up so that I could do it anytime. But I need to see what I'm doing here first. Oh, and I just noticed you subscribed for 6 months in advance. Thank you for that, Sarah. That's super awesome. And Deoxyribo is asking about Sarah, I love that. Yeah, ads are no fun and supporting awesome people is. That sounds weird for me to say, but I also feel that way in subscribing to people. I think I will do 6 shelf stitches. Let's do it. And Deoxyribo was asking for favorite content creators, sites for cross stitch tips. I end up watching a lot of Caterpillar cross stitch, which is a really good like beginner one. They really want to sell you their cross stitch kits, and they really want you to like subscribe to their Facebook page. But you know, ignore those calls to action or listen to them. Maybe you want to use all their stuff. But they have like a handful of different creators who make content on their channel. And I just have really good SEO, I guess. They often pop up when I'm like searching a particular thing that I'm trying to figure out. I feel like they're a good start, and then the YouTube algorithm might recommend you other creators off the back of that. I have watched so many, but unfortunately, that's the main name that I can remember of someone I would recommend for like good tips and tutorials. Yeah, Caterpillar Cross Stitch. It's a British company. Most of them are British, so you know, can be fun to also listen to their accents. World of Cross Stitching, the magazine I got this pattern from, is also a British magazine. I feel like there's a lot of crafting that is based over in the UK, which kind of makes sense to me. I can't exactly put into words why, but it makes sense to me. Oh, I have not had a sip of water yet since the stream started. PSA to everyone else, take a sip of water. Have a sip of water. And while I'm paused, let's add to the subscriber shelf. Let's do it. Let's get an extra needle out, if I can. Ah, there we go. Actually use this thread that I've just had sitting inside the pattern for so long. Limical, you are so right. I meant to go back and look at that. I think you are one who subscribed for more than 1 month initially. So I will look back into that. Okay, so we'll start with Sarah's 6, and then I'll see if there's a way that I can quickly check. Will this work? Camera's gonna be... I'll do that. Yeah, there we go. Oh, did 3. Okay, got it. That is helpful. Thank you, Limical. Okay. That sort of works. Here we go. So we can do... I knocked the camera. Come back. Hey, wait, no, I did it. I did something real bad. Oh, that's actually very good to know, Sarah, that Caterpillar Cross Stitch's French knots tutorial is easy, because I have historically just ignored when something has French knots and like found some other way to do it because I've just not quite wanted to figure it out yet. Okay, this is not working for where I want to hold this. I want to hold this here. We'll put it here. There we go. That could work. Okay, so we're doing 1. I'm gonna have to really count. This is 1. 2. 3. I've never been so focused counting to the number 6 before. 4. 5. Okay, now I know where it's gonna end. This is easier now. And 6. So those are Well, I haven't finished the 6th one yet, but this is 6 stitches for Sarah. Thank you so much, Sarah. And now we're gonna add 2 more to Limical's initial 3-month sub. 1 and no, that's just 1. I keep wanting to count half stitches as a whole stitch. 1 and 2. And I know let's see, Tom resubbed, but we did that last week. That was when I kind of made the call to start doing month by month ones, but let me go back and double check. I will put that there. Let's see. Okay, I think because I'm such a noob at Twitch, I might have to do this not on stream. But we will go back and retroactively get more people their stitches who need them for the subscriber shelf next time. But there we go for now. Thank you all for subscribing. Oh! And now Deoxyribo gifted 3 months to Meow is my love language. That is so kind of you to do the gift sub. Well, okay, so now let's do 3 more. Let's do 3 more for Meow is my love language, courtesy of Deoxyribo. Very, very kind of you. Love to see that. That? Look at all those happy waffles. 1. We're really getting the shelf built now. Like more than halfway on the top shelf. Come on, needle. 2. And 3. Anti-gravity, spools, finding a place to land. Yeah, exactly. Shelf support coming in. That is right, Sarah. Here we go. Hey, that's looking pretty good. I keep forgetting. Oh, and I messed this up for myself. I wanted to put like little labels for each month of like where, just to give it a little bit of like timing, like so I would like stitch like September right there and then October over here. But I did not leave myself enough space when I started there. I designed all of this and then like as I did it in the moment, I forgot. Oh, hey, Door! Thank you so much for the 2-month subscription. Now I'll add 2 more. I love it. Thank you so much. Yeah, let's keep going. Got the hype train started. Nice. Very fun, everyone. Very fun. Gonna get the shelf going and going. Oh, I think it says 2 months. I don't know. We're gonna give you 2 anyways. Oh, you're already subbed for. Well, we're getting 2 because that's what I'm seeing on my end. And if it's just a little bonus, it's just a little bonus. That's all right. Oh yeah, we got those leftover Halloween candy emotes. Dave, thanks for subscribing with Prime. Thanks for subscribing, Dave. Nice. Add yet another one. This is very fun. Just keep building the shelf. And Dave, you have your little pumpkin seed badge for your first month of subscribing. Limical, thanks for gifting another subscription to Tuna Basil, who we raided last week. So much community love and spirit happening here. Got another stitch for the shelf. I love it. Wow. Look how far this has come along in just a few minutes, thanks to all of you. All of you for building the shelf for our anti-gravity spools. I think we've potentially made it through... No, I was trying to count. Like I said, I was trying to label them for months so I could sort of keep track of like when each thing happened. It might just be that like after this row, I'll leave myself more space. And maybe this first row, I'll write it on top and it'll be little anti-gravity labels. I'll have to decide about that. Because I think it'd be cool to have a little bit of a visual reference to be like, oh, okay, that was September, that was October, that was November of this year. Because hopefully this keeps going for a long time. I put a lot of cloth on this on this pattern so that it could keep building for a long time. I just need to start actually following my design to actually do it. No defying gravity spools. Well, that'll be the goal. We like defying gravity, but also fun to be grounded sometimes, you know? To groundify. I don't know, I was trying to speak in wicked language. Okay. I think we're good. I'm good to go back to Emerald City just for a little bit. Just 'cause. Why not? Speaking of defying gravity and anti-gravity, I just restarted a book I was reading earlier this year, which actually, is it sitting over here? I have it right here. If I can get it. I'm gonna have to knock things over. There we go. It is Colonel Chris Hadfield's Astronaut's Guide to Life. This is the first book, I believe, that Colonel Chris Hadfield wrote. And tying it back to Labyrinth, if you don't know Chris Hadfield off the top of your head, he is the astronaut who performed a cover of David Bowie's Space Oddity while on board the International Space Station. This was back in like 2013. It was freaking awesome. I loved it. David Bowie loved it. He had a chance to see it before he passed away a few years later. And Chris Hadfield just really like... inspirational is not quite the right word. Like this is kind of memoir, kind of like personal development, and he just has like so many good insights on things like fear and self-discipline and achieving goals. It's a really great book. And I started rereading it this weekend because I'm trying something that I was gonna make like a little short video TikTok reely thing for. But I don't know. I have to see if I have time to do that. But I'm doing a thing this month, and I haven't come up with a clever name for it yet. Wait, what is this hype chest I'm supposed to open? I'm gonna open it. Ooh, we now have a button mashing emote. I don't know. I don't really know what I'm doing. I pressed a button and now it says that I said choo choo. What happens if we press it? It's a limited time only emote. Cool. Sure. Gonna have fun with that. That's fun. We unlocked it via a hype chest, so thanks to everyone for doing that. Wow. That is a fast button smash. It's like exploding when you hit it. It's got static electricity going. Anyway, the thing that I'm trying to do this month is No New Books November, which is not about not buying new books. It is about not starting new books, and I am aiming to just finish a handful of books that I'm like halfway through. I have way more than a handful that I'm only halfway through, but I am trying to see how many books I have not finished that I would still like to finish that I can finish in this month. And so this is one I was reading earlier in the fall. I want to finish that one. I've got another book that I started reading like 2 years ago that I feel like I have 2.5 chapters left, and I want to finish that one. So I don't know. It seems like it would be a fun thing, and this is also slightly an invitation for me to you. If this is a challenge that sounds interesting to any of you, you could try it out. Of instead of starting new books this month, seeing which books you haven't finished that you can finish. Unless you're one of those people who always completes a book before you move on to the next one, which is a foreign concept to me. But this challenge won't really work for you if you're that kind of reader. How do you send the button mash? Sarah asks. I think it's probably in the same place you press the emotes, but I don't know because I think it looks. I'm looking at the chat through OBS, so it looks a little bit different for me. Belnye's book starting has been nerfed by waiting for Libby holds. Yeah, I know that life. And the challenge was lost because of a uni assignment for Door, which, yes, that would be another reason. If your reading is not fully in control, because you are in classes, that also makes it difficult to do the challenge. Oh, Skygem's doing NaNoWriMo. Or one of the, like, new... I feel like there's 2 or 3 different initiatives that are trying to replace NaNoWriMo this year. I can't remember the name of any of them. But yes, if you were trying to write 50,000 words or something like that, it may be tough to also finish reading lots of things. I was doing a lot of writing the last few months, and I have much more I need to do, but this felt like a time that I could maybe get away with taking a little pause and just reading for a bit. So that is what I am doing. Yeah, as much as I'm like, other people should join in this challenge, I mean, I literally picked November because it just made sense for me, because I knew I had a lot to read, like, research-wise in September and October, and then in December, I always have, like, Christmas reading that I want to do, so I was like, November is going to be the month that I try to finish some books, which will also help me get to, like, my reading goal. I have a real problem going to the library and checking out more books than I will ever read before they're due, so I feel ya on that, Tom. Yeah, Rogan, I also try not to buy new books. I mean, I think I was talking last time about how I get a lot of used books or, like, books from, you know, free libraries and stuff. But I do like buying them, one, to support, like, authors that I know, or two, similar how you were saying when it's a new bookstore to you or you're traveling to a new place, I really like anytime that I am at a bookstore, maybe in a small town, and specifically making sure to buy a book, like, by a queer author or a person of color, just to sort of be like, yeah, keep stocking these. People want these. That's always my goal when I go to smaller bookstores in smaller towns. Ooh, getting a book set in the area you're traveling to. That's a great idea. I sometimes try to read a book set in the area I'm traveling to before I travel there, especially for, like, international travel. And not necessarily, like, I mean, I guess it is to learn about it, but I mean, like, a fiction novel or, like, a memoir or something. Not anything that's, like, too much like a travel guide. Just something that's like, here's a little bit more of like the life and culture in this area. I like doing that. Reader's Digest on the UK woodlands. That sounds really interesting, Door. Trying to think, like, a whole book. I guess it's a Reader's Digest, but still, just devoted to the woodlands. I like learning a lot more about land. I have lots of books on land and nature and farming that I've, like, skimmed through and want to sit down and really read one day. Maybe one of them I'll finish this month. Who knows? Ooh, thanks for the help on how to find the button emote, which is maybe gone already? Unclear. But Dor, thank you for that. Oh, and we've got another ad starting in just a few seconds. So I'll see some of you on the other side of that. Bell Nye's library morphed into a co-working space. Yeah, that's been happening more and more, which, you know, in some ways makes a lot of sense. And in other ways, particularly for book lovers, is sometimes like a little bit sad. It's like not the library vibes that we want and not having books to browse. But being a part of the system for interlibrary loan is always good. Ooh, the button's gonna stay for the whole month. That's cool news. Let's see, maybe we'll move down and try to do... Should I just keep staying here? I think I'm gonna go down. Working on this Munchkin Land grass. Oh, and now the ad has started? Who knows? Maybe it's a little different for different people. I don't really know. Yeah, shipping would be pretty expensive to send me that Reader's Digest of the Woodlands. Right now, especially. That's okay. It reminds me a little bit of a book that I have called Changes in the Land, which is about, like, land in the U.S. and how it was transformed by the colonizers here and, like, what it was like before. And this is a very cool book that I actually first heard about in a soil class that I was taking. I think it's by William Cronin, if anyone is interested in the book Changes in the Land. And it pulls a lot, I believe, from like a Harvard study. Oh, Bell Nye, thank you for the subscription. Subscribing for 2 months, thank you so much. Oh, I understand now what it said, Dor, when it said that you have subscribed for... I'm just misreading because I'm stitching. Okay, so that was also 1 month. Okay, so Dor got a bonus stitch, but that's okay. I said that was what we were going to do. But yeah, okay, Bell Nye. But now you've been subscribed for 2 months, which is very fun and exciting, and I appreciate you doing that. And yeah, it is a good reminder for anyone who subscribed with Prime before that you do have to manually redo it with Prime. I know a lot of folks subscribed when I first became an affiliate, which was about a month ago, a little over a month ago. So some of you may need to do that. You're back, Bell Nye, after being stuck in an ad. Welcome. Yeah, sorry I didn't remind folks about that, but yep. With Prime, you do have to manually resub each time, which I think is because you could use your sub elsewhere if you wanted to, so I appreciate those of you using it here. I really do appreciate that. And let's add Bell Nye's subscriber stitch here. Go out all the way. One more little stitch. We're all learning on the go, or at least I'm learning on the go, very obviously with Twitch, Bell Nye, so all good. Okay, here's... Oh no! The floss just left the needle completely. Let's get this back. Oh, that is cool that you got to keep the Founder's Badge. Very cool. Although folks without the Founder's Badges now get the little pumpkin seeds. So that's exciting. Yes, Dor, I can type that in the chat in just a minute. Here is One more stitch for Bell Nye for the next month. Thank you so much for subscribing. Ooh, there we go. Continuing to get the shelf built for the spools. Okay, and where are we at here? Also, the Stitch Today counter is just gonna be impossible because I did not keep track at all as we were adding stitches to the shelf. So I think for today, it's just going to be stitches for the pattern, which right now we're at 23. So let's update that, and then I'll just have this up so it's easier to do when I need to do it. Cool. All right, so the book, it's not in this room, so I can't just grab it. Wow, I got the title and author correct by memory. Why are book titles and authors some of the only things that I can remember in my life? I'll add the subtitle, though. And as I add the subtitle, note that this book was written in 1983, when we used different language sometimes. Laura, how do you know that? How do you keep track of how many stitches I did better than I do? Oh, your book was written in 1984. You know what? Like, even though you literally just told me it was a book about the woodlands, I bet they were, like, both sort of written in that same kind of, like, environmentalist push that was coming around, like, the mid-'80s. Like, yeah, I bet they kind of came out of a similar school of thought. I've only read part of this, but it was, like, a heavy source for a presentation that I watched in this soil class. So I feel pretty confident recommending it. I mean, I went out and bought it because I was so fascinated by the little I had learned of it or from it. So, yes. Okay. Anyways, what are we doing? Oh, we're going back to the Emerald City. To the Emerald City. I gotta get credit for every stitch. You know, I appreciate that. And all of you who are stitching along tonight, you definitely know how that goes. Stitching is slow. It is a slow process, and so you like getting credit for every little thing you do. Dora's book was more informing the general public to be nice to forests and forestry workers. So that is different, but also very important PSA. Looking at the trees with an iced coffee. I mean, that sounds great. I think if I went for a walk and looked at trees today, but I was too cold for it to be an iced coffee. It is not iced coffee weather this week, for sure. Oh, Sarah, I'm sorry you still can't find the button. I wonder if it's even like a thing where you need to refresh first, if you haven't already tried that. Maybe you've tried it. Iced coffee in the snow. I know a lot of people do that, but I am very much a like, when it's cold outside, I drink hot coffee. When it's hot outside, I drink iced coffee. And that's just how I go. I need to pay attention to like how many stitches I'm actually doing here. 16. It should be 16. It's not actually too cold here today either. I just didn't dress warm enough at least for the first half of my walk. It was one of those things like by the time I was about halfway through my walk, I felt fine. But when I first started, I was like, oh, I'm so cold. The wind is so cold. Why am I doing this? Which, you know, it's only gonna get worse from here. Ooh, Limical, you've all been living off of hot chocolate all week. Yeah, we had a lot of hot apple cider going on over here. Skygem's working on a new project started last week by Long Dog Samplers. Halfway through page 1 of 20. That's so many pages. Wow. Hey, Masked Bandit. Welcome to the chat. Hello, hello. I'm doing pretty good today. I don't know if I said it out loud, and that's why you just said this, Skygem, but I was thinking that I was about to say that I wanted to check in on how everyone's projects were going. Let's get a status update on what everyone is working on. I think a lot of you said what you were working on at the start, so, you know, give an update if you want on how it's going, or if you haven't shared yet what your project is or how it's going, let us know in the chat if you want to. No pressure, you don't have to. Oh, Door, cottonwood must be a more American tree. It's very, very common here, and common for allergies as well. Local's been in a stitching marathon all week. Yeah, you're trying to work on like some holiday gifts, right? So you're on a deadline? Am I remembering that correctly? I actually caught a bit of a cold this past week. I was briefly looking back at the VOD from last week's stream, and I think you can actively see me starting to catch a cold during the stream. Like, I just started looking more sick throughout it, and I think it was the next day that I just totally crashed. So I'm still a little bit congested from having a cold. I'm glad that I can't get any of you sick through the internet. 10. Okay, we got holiday gifts probably gonna be January for a birthday now. That is how it happens sometimes. Wow, 2 by 2 feet big Skygem. That is such a big project. Sarah's a fifth of a way, maybe, through a current project from Gallert Design. Tom's working on a frog holding a 4-leaf clover and powering through holiday gifts at inadvisable speeds. Yep, that sounds about right. Masked Bandit started 2 new projects for November. That's fun. Do you have like monthly goals that you set, or did it just so happen that it's the start of the month and you have 2 new projects? Rogan finished putting together a graphic for a wrap-up of what you read in October. Very fun. And starting to prep for D&D. Wow, 2 great fun things to do. I need to do a little update on my I've been doing the mini cross-stitch bookshelf, where I've been cross-stitching a little book on a shelf for every book that I read this year. I did it last year too. I have some videos up on my Instagram and my YouTube if any of you are curious what that pattern looks like. I also give a shout out to the pattern creator, who I cannot recall the name of right now. But yeah, it's a little mini bookshelf I've been doing. But Rogan, you remind me that I should update that. I haven't done an update on that since like June. Masked Bandit started designing a new series for young children to learn to cross-stitch. That's super cool. I learned to cross-stitch as a kid originally, but didn't keep up with it. I wish I had. Imagine how many things I would have cross-stitched by now. Door's halfway through the moon, or the border of the moon. Hey, that counts. Stitching on fabric is extra hard, so you're going hard mode tonight, Door. Markup RXP projects that Limical will be done by December 22nd, but there's no way you can sustain this rate. Yeah, don't do 550 stitches a day, every day. No. It's interesting seeing the predictions that Markup RxP gives. I can show folks. You can see a little bit in the other information. There's like estimated days to completion and completion date. This one thinks I'll be done with this by December 23rd, but that's probably not a very accurate prediction, because you can also go here and see that like I have not stitched this pattern in months and months and months. This is my first time back at it in a while. But it's fun to have these apps with all of this like predictive stuff on them. I don't know how much Pattern Keeper has. I assume it also has a lot. Wow, Sarah's cross-stitched at least 15 minutes every day since the 23rd. Love a streak. Well done. I have not done that, but I would like to. I think my brain would like if I had done that every day. Oh, Jobo, you might be restarting because you learned things. Listen. I learned a lot of best practices after having completed many patterns. I think there are probably still best practices that I'm not doing now. So if you're even a little bit okay with how a project looks, you don't necessarily have to start over. But of course, it's all up to you. That's what art and crafting and hobbies are. Wow, Masked Bandit started stitching at 5 and haven't stopped since. That is awesome. Oh, a community stitch along. Got it. Okay, that makes sense to do a new pattern at the start of the month if you're doing a stitch along. Unapologetic month, no new starts. Wait, is there a creator's name in there somewhere? And if so, that's awesome, because we were talking about cross-stitch creators earlier on the stream, and we were trying to recommend some for folks. So yeah, I can't quite tell if there's a name in there. 56 years! That's amazing! Wow, I love that. Ugh, one day, if I am so lucky, I will also have stitched for that long. But I love that. I love the idea of sticking with something that you love and enjoy for that long. Okay, so I've done 9 here. Oh, okay, so the stitch along's individualized, but the theme is what holds us together. I like that. I like that. I did a book club like that once, where we didn't all read the same books. And the first year we did it, we all followed a similar reading challenge, the Book Riot Read Harder challenge. So it would be like we would come to the book club and talk about the book that we picked to fit that theme. And then in later years, we literally just met up to talk about what we were reading. And we did, there was no theme, there's nothing. It was just, what have you been reading lately? And we talked about it for a while. It was not a book club. Oh, Bell Nye was asking what I'm gonna do with this pattern when it is done. I have always thought I would make a pillow out of it. I need to sort of relearn to sew and get confident at that. But yeah, when I first saw this like circular pattern in the World of Cross Stitching magazine, I immediately was like, I want that to be a pillow. And so the plan has always been to make it a pillow. This was one of those like patterns that I found very early on when I started cross stitching as an adult. And I was like, oh, Masked Bandit, thank you for the follow. And when I first saw this pattern, I was like, I am not skilled enough yet, or it's like, it's too many stitches, it's too ambitious. I am not gonna even try it yet, so I just like bookmark it and set it aside. And then at a certain point, I decided I was ready to start it. But it has never been a priority project. I think we were talking a little last week about how it's so fun to gift people cross-stitch projects, but those start feeling like a deadline. And so it's nice to have a project that is not a deadline sometimes. And this has been one of my like ones that I just sort of keep going back to in between deadline gift projects. And I keep losing track of how many stitches there are here. Okay, we got 14, so we can do 2 more, and that'll finish this column. Yeah, I think it would make a good pillow. I've just got to get proficient enough at sewing to be able to make a circular pillow. Not there yet. I definitely sewed a couple of pillows and pillowcases as a kid, but they were all rectangular, which feels easier. Yeah, I think having multiple projects at the same time, yeah, sometimes you can get tired of one you're working on, especially if it's a bigger project and maybe has a lot of like one color. I also have found sometimes I want a smaller pattern for when I'm traveling, maybe, because it like fits in a suitcase easier or bag, whatever. Ooh, I could put it on a hexagonal or octagonal pillow. That's a good point. If it comes to it, I might do that. I like both of those shapes a lot. Oh, Skygem sews for a living. That's cool. And can confirm curved lines are harder to do. Yeah, I either knew that from some point in the past of sewing or could just kind of tell. I've been fixing up my Singer sewing machine recently. That's the sewing machine that I learned to sew on. It was like my family sewing machine. But I've been doing a lot of research on where it actually came from and how to, you know, kind of like clean up and refurbish these old machines, because this one is from 1950. And it still runs great, except that I think the motor, for safety reasons, should probably be replaced. But it runs, it functions. But these Singer sewing machines just do straight stitches, and I feel like just anything a little bit more complicated than like the basics, I think it's, especially for someone who's not a great sewer like myself, it's gonna be even harder. So at some point I might have to get a more modern sewing machine. Sarah was called a monogamous stitcher. Yeah, or the monogamous readers that I was talking about, who, like, my November challenge would not be good for monogamous readers who finish a book and then start the next one, just like monogamous stitchers. You finish a book and start the next one. Tom talking about needing to learn how to use a sewing machine. I will say that while there is a big learning curve on sewing machines, there's also kind of not. I think especially if you get a machine that like works right out of the box or right when you buy it. There are so many tutorials online, or even just like the manuals for the sewing machines, that teach you what you need to know for the basics. Like you pick it up pretty fast. Once you want to get into like, you know, how to sew your own clothes or how to tailor your own clothes, like, yeah, it does get more complicated. But if you just want to learn, like, how does a sewing machine work and sew like a quick little bag or something, I feel like that is not too complicated, and that there's just a lot of tutorials online to help out. Oh, Sky, that's very cool. You use a Singer for personal projects. I mean, they are awesome, and I feel very grateful that I got to inherit this one from my family, because I know a lot of people like really try to find them at vintage stores and buy them and stuff. Whoa, Door has 3 vintage Singers and 2 modern ones. Wow. Sarah says, understanding how much gets it to go a certain speed took time, but that's kind of like driving a car. It's true. I mean, I say that there's so much simple about sewing machines. I also learned to sew on a sewing machine at a very young age. So like when I was just trying again, when I was fixing up this machine the other weekend, like maybe it was a little bit of that driving a car, riding a bike thing where a lot of it just came back to me immediately. And so if you're totally starting without that foundation, it probably is a little bit harder. But I'm not actually sure about that. Ooh, Masked Bandit sewing machine is an embroidery machine. Yeah, having something that does embroidery and stuff would be awesome one day. Ooh, Doors sewing machines were table ones. That would be very cool to get a sewing table one day. We never had a sewing table with this machine. I don't know if my mom maybe did growing up, but for as long as this sewing machine was like in houses that I lived in, we did not have a sewing table with it. Sky Gems, we're talking about monogamous stitchers, but having smaller projects in between, and Sky Gems said you gotta get the dopamine hit of actually completing something. That is exactly how I feel. Good point, Bell Nye, that middle and high schoolers use machines at school and people trust them to do that, so it can't be too dangerous. Masked Bandit has 19 cross-stitch projects going. Wow. That's juggling a lot. That's like me with books. Ooh, Rogan's mom has several singers, including an old featherweight. Yeah, this one is a featherweight. And you and your partner have 2 sewing machines of your own. Wow, so many sewists in this chat. I didn't know. I could have guessed, but I didn't know. Limical, why are you stitching white floss on white Aida? Just skip it. Says the guy who was also like, skip the French knots. Just don't do it. No, but really, if it's like truly just white fabric, like white Aida cloth and white floss, I just don't do it. Or like black Aida cloth and black floss, I just don't do it. Yeah, Rogan, it's possible that the featherweights are exactly the same. But I looked up a lot recently about different models and different years and stuff, but a lot of them, like there's a lot of different ones, and they all still look remarkably similar. Sarah, yes, that is true. It gives a different look or texture, so it depends what you want for the nuance. I do agree with that. I just often take the lazy route. I think especially if it's just for me. Masked Bandit is stitching white on 28 count Lugana. Oof. Your eyes. I feel so bad for all of your eyes. I hope you're using light and magnifying glasses and reading glasses, whatever you need. 2,000 white stitches, Limical. Yeah, I agree with Rogan. Godspeed. I am just realizing that Limical, you said I did 16 subscriber stitches, but there's also the usual 19 for the spool. And I think at this point we did 17. So I actually need to add 36 to the overall count, which is now 42. So we are actually up to 78. Yay. And that means that this one is 1675. Nope. What? That's not right. Because that one doesn't get... Yeah, this one just gets the 42. Okay. Let me just keep saying numbers to confuse you all on your own stitching. Are you distracting me from stitching? The stream is always a little distracting from stitching, but it's also like... an excuse to just sit down and stitch. So it's very fun. Oh, we do have an ad break coming in about 30 seconds. It would look weird with the holes showing. I mean, yeah, it is about the different texture. Okay, Meow's green thread, and then the pink thread looked thinner in the stitches. Are you using DMC for both of them? Not that DMC is perfect, but I think it's, you know, one of the gold standards for stitching. And when I have used other companies, I have found that they are more inconsistent. And so maybe something like that could have happened, but I feel like even with DMC, that can happen. Bill Knight, do you mean you're literally at a dollar store like right now? Because that's great, if so. With the needles, it's rated ages 3+. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I feel like a 3-year-old might swallow said needle or do any kinds of dangerous things with the needle. Like, the idea of a 3-year-old cross-stitching is fun, although we were just talking a minute ago about, like, starting more at age 5 or so. Well, speaking of kits, like ones made by the dollar store in-house brand, that may be it, Meow. Like, the one time I've stitched with a kit, I was like, wow, this floss is just not great. It is not up to snuff. So that might just be kind of what happened. Dora's skeleton kit was rated 4+. Oh, Masked Bandit started learning tatting and knitting at age 4 on great-grandmother's knee. I love that. Yeah, Dora, I mean, I don't think it's weird in terms of ability, but maybe just in terms of safety is, I think, what Bell Nye and others are getting at. But hey, if with adult supervision or on your great-grandmother's knee, maybe it's alright. When I first learned cross-stitching, it was definitely, like, with yarn and cardboard. So it was no needles really involved. And not that I recall. It would have been like a big plastic needle if it was. But welcome back from the ads, folks. Welcome. Ah, and Dora learned oil painting at age 4 on their great-grandfather's knee. Positively Crafty, thanks for the follow. Thanks for joining in and for following. I love all these people learning how to do crafts on their great-grandparents' knees. I learned from my grandmother, not my great-grandmother. I don't think any great-grandmothers of mine were alive when I was born. But most of my crafting... Well, that's not really true. Some of my crafting I learned from my grandmother. A lot of it I learned from my mom. My mom was the seamstress, for sure. Like, when we were very small, most of our clothes were sewn by my mom. Okay, not most, but, like, a lot. Where all am I going here? This is only the second one. Masked Bandit, that's very cool that you teach so many different crafts as well. Yep, plastic needle might make more sense than a metal needle for a child's crafting kit. Okay, so maybe we'll keep going up this way and do these stitches. Keep going in our sea of bluegrass. Haha, bluegrass. Nice. What did folks get up to for Halloween? I know we talked beforehand about different plans, but how did your Halloween week and weekend end up going? I caught a cold, as I said, so it could have been a little bit better for me, but I still did lots of fun Halloween things. Had fewer trick-or-treaters this year. There were so many last year. But yeah, definitely fewer. So I've got a lot of leftover candy now. And I did just set it all here. I've been meaning to eat it. I've been meaning to snack on some leftover Halloween candy. Belle and I finished painting by numbers just in time for the trick-or-treaters. We had a paint by number, like a Halloween one that we were going to do, because I'm remembering now you told us about this. And someone else was doing like sticker by numbers. Turns out ours was not a paint by numbers. It was just a paint with like the drawing was there and then you just paint it however you want. But we thought it was paint by numbers. So it turned out to be more of a challenge than expected. Which is, you know, fine. But the numbers would have helped. It, you know, I feel like it's a very different part of your brain to just follow the numbers. That's like cross-stitching. But then to have to pick it all yourself and do it all you know, that's a whole different part of your brain. Let's see. Mikey hosted a craft night and watched Cabin in the Woods. Did you watch Cabin in the Woods while crafting? Cabin in the Woods is a fantastic movie. But not the first one I would have thought of for crafting. Although I say that, and then now I'm remembering that there's a group around me that does like horror and handiwork nights where they watch horror movies while crafting. So maybe this is a popular pairing. I'm also thinking about the fact now that like when I watch horror movies, I usually cross stitch because it like distracts my mind enough that I don't get as scared. So I'll cross stitch to sort of distract myself. Tom watched It's a Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Same. Ooh, baked pumpkin bread. And it turned out great. Well done. I made some pumpkin muffins in like September or earlier in October, but I haven't really baked pumpkin anything since then. I gotta bake some more pumpkin stuff. I made cookies shaped like pumpkins, but they were orange flavored, not pumpkin flavored. Sarah stayed in and cross-stitched on Halloween. That sounds great. No trick-or-treaters for door. Yeah, it's tough in flats or apartments. Belle Nye, Fairly Odd Parents costume with your friends. That's great. I went as Cosmo one year. And that was one of my favorite Halloween costumes I've ever done. Yeah, making the floating crown is very fun. And then, like, the dyed hair or wigs is very fun. Ooh, pumpkin chocolate chip cookies or bars are fantastic, says Sarah. Yeah, I don't think I've actually ever made pumpkin chocolate chip cookies, even though that sounds so up my lane. Up my alley, whatever that turn of phrase is. Meow, I love that you scared yourself when you saw someone dressed up for Halloween. Which makes sense. If Halloween's not really a thing there, then it took you by surprise. You weren't expecting to see people in costume. Oh, Belle Nye was also Cosmo. Very fun, very fun. Ooh, I think I needed to be drinking more water today. Also, gonna have some M&Ms from my leftover Halloween candy. Bell Nye, I love what you're saying about Cosmo short hair. Totally not awakening anything gender-wise. I think Cosmo was my first Halloween costume after coming out. So, do with that what you will. It was my first post-transition Halloween costume. It was not my first short hair Halloween costume. I think that was Marty McFly. I think. But, yeah. I don't know, something about the Cosmo look can definitely awaken some gender feelings. Ooh, Door went to a party with, made your partner dress up as vampires. Fun. Not that comfy. Corset, heels, and fangs. Yeah, doesn't sound comfy. But does sound like a cool look for vampire. Oh, Sarah, thanks for calling that out. We'll see if the stream is stopping or lagging for anyone else. I don't know if it's my internet or your internet. We'll find out. Either way is a little sad. Wow, Door also dressed as Cosmo post coming out. Okay, Sarah, I am sorry to report that it may be your internet. Although, what? Oh, Sky was also having some issues, so we'll see. Wow, who knew Cosmo from Fairly Odd Parents was the trans mask king? What a funny coincidence. We'll have to ask around, see what other trans masculine folks dressed as Cosmo in or around coming out as some version of trans. Oh, people headcanon Timmy as trans. That's interesting. I have not heard that one yet. I do like the, Buttercup? One of the Powerpuff Girls, the green Powerpuff Girl. I like the headcanon that she's trans. Like, if we saw her grow up, would be transmasculine. Really using correct pronouns there as I share this headcanon. Oh, Door, that's very cute that your partner, but who was not your partner yet at the time, was Wanda with you. That's very fun. Ooh, Dipper from Gravity Falls as trans. That's fun. I always mean to watch more Gravity Falls. I like the little bit that I've seen. I need to just dive in one day and watch it all. Dipper is such a fun character. Oh, okay. Sky sharing some more lore about why people have a Timmy is trans headcanon. I vaguely remember that. It's entirely possible that I have seen every episode of Fairly Odd Parents, but not, like, since it first aired, so I don't remember a lot. I do, of course, remember Chip Skylark. And I keep thinking about making a Chip Skylark, like alert or something. Because, excuse me, because I think it would be funny to somehow relate it to floss, embroidery floss, and shiny teeth. But also, it would be copyrighted, so I can't really do it. So I keep thinking about it, and then being like, well, I can't really do it. I might have to look into more of this trans Timmy lore. But yeah, Buttercup trans Powerpuff Girl is my main cartoon trans headcanon that I've seen like a lot of fan art for too. I definitely did not come up with that one on my own. Tom says if it's brief enough. I mean, I think it's not so much that that's like the rule, so much as that's how you don't get flagged and caught. And I think especially not being a partner or probably not being a partner for a while, that's something that I might be fine experimenting with. Oh, the creator of Fairly Odd Parents is not an ally. Not fact checked. We will have to look into that. Sad news. Maybe I want to steal from him then. Sky says that Danny Phantom's by the same creator, and a lot of people headcanon Danny Phantom as trans. Starting to sense a theme here. Yeah, interesting. I mean, there also could be something in this of just like the ways in which we view and portray young men in like cartoon media, and or the ways in which we view transmasculine people, which sometimes can be a little infantilizing in the way that we view and treat transmasculine people. And so I wonder if there's some connection there with all of these like preteen cartoon boys that we are sort of like, oh, they're so transmask coded, and like they're all cool characters, so I kind of like it, but there might be something to unpack a little bit there. I'm also thinking about some characters like in stage plays throughout history that have historically been played by women or were played by women in different points in time throughout history. Like Romeo in Romeo and Juliet for a while was played by women because masculinity in America at the time was such that like men just couldn't believably portray someone who was like both a good sword fighter and really romantic. It was that like didn't work with their fragile masculinity at the time, so it became a women's role. I don't know. There's a lot of like not quite related but related thoughts that I'm having around all of this. Yes, Peter Pan is a great example as one who was usually played by a woman. An example of Peter Pan not being played by a woman is actually Walt Disney. And I don't mean the cartoon where it's a boy, but actually Walt Disney himself was obsessed with Peter Pan, and specifically, I think, with the not Mae Martin. Mae Martin is the comedian we all love. But whatever the actress's name, who was like one of the most famous actresses who played Peter Pan in the early 1900s. And Walt Disney was like obsessed with her. And so Mary Martin, thank you, Tom. And there was like a community theater production or something when he was like 12-ish. And I want to say there was something where like he either didn't get cast as Peter at first or the production almost didn't happen. But somehow he went through some like hoops and was able to play Peter, which he desperately wanted to, because he was a big fan of Mary Martin, oddly enough, in terms of gender. But that's also why Peter Pan was one of the first full-length Disney animated films, because Walt Disney just loved Peter Pan. Okay, we got another trans headcanon for Ben 10. I do not know who that is, so you'll have to you'll have to inform me. Oh no, the creator of Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom launched a Christian streaming platform to focus on family values. All right, yeah, that's probably not good for us. Bell Nye adding to the Dipper trans mask theory just because he's really grappling with his masculinity in the whole series and has an identical twin sister. Yeah, strong evidence there. Ooh, Dor, you've been to J.M. Barrie's house? I did not know that that was a tourist attraction. What town is that in? Like, is it where he grew up or where he lived as an adult? Because it'd be like Scotland versus England. I want to go. I don't know if I can really leave the country, but if I can and I can go back to England sometime, I really want to go there. That sounds awesome. Oh, Tom. You're ruining Hocus Pocus for all of us now. But I guess, you know, it's better to be informed about these things. Wow, Bette Midler. Very sad. Okay, National Trust property. So, in London, then? Oh man, yeah, we're all having some strong reactions to Bette Midler. Ugh. Oh, Sarah, that's very disappointing. That you've heard some people make some transphobic and homophobic remarks. It's yeah, it's a tough time. I have heard some things in some spaces that I have enjoyed going to as well, and I'm just like, well, it definitely means that I'm not going to get as close to people as I thought I maybe would, but also, how do I feel about coming here at all? And nothing was, like, directed against me or, like, super bad. It was just a little bit of those dog whistles. Melby Toast, thank you so much for subscribing for 2 months. I'm gonna add to the shelf again. We gotta bring the shelf back out, everyone. Which is good. We maybe needed a little bit of a boost of of conversation change. We're getting a little down on the real world. So let's bring back the excitement of the subscriber shelf for a minute. How about we do that? Okay, so Melby Toast, 2 months, getting 2 stitches on the subscriber shelf. Forgot it was Monday. Well, hey, I'm glad you're here now. I also just did this stitch too big. Whoops. Let's restart that. And let's restart the music. I think the album ended. We're doing some Dan and Phil beats again. I had the idea too last minute to try to find some, like, wicked-ish theming lo-fi background music. How did I just do this wrong again? I think I'm, like, looking through the camera instead of at the fabric. Okay. Needle, go there. There we go. Today was a weird Monday for me as well, so I'm with you all on not quite remembering it was Monday. It happens. November is going to be a very disjointed month for me in general. Oh, which is a good time to bring up that I will not be streaming next Monday. I think in November it's going to end up being like every other Monday streams. If I can find another time in there to maybe do like some streams on other days of the week, I will do that because I'll miss you all and that would be fun to do. But yeah, I updated it on the Twitch schedule. No stream next Monday. Got some other plans that I got to do that I can't move. So we will enjoy our time together here tonight. And look at this subscriber shelf. Oh my gosh. Only 2 more spools on this row that are defying gravity for the moment. Oh, Sarah, I'm so glad to hear that about today. But yes, sorry about next week. Like, extra sorry in that case. But hey, maybe we'll try to raid someone today. And maybe there'll be someone that you can watch next Monday. If that's a normal stream time for them. That could be fun. Okay, we got a tourist hack from Door about going to England, get a National Trust membership, and that gets you free entry to every National Trust property. That's a very good hack for me specifically, because I feel like that's the kind of thing that I want to do next time I go to England. And briefly on the note of, yeah, balancing joining communities with aligning your values. And Rogan's in a group chat of deaf and signing folks, and they sometimes pick books by problematic authors. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, Sarah, that's not a great vibe. Oof. Yeah, I think actually I actually don't even want to get into what I was gonna say of what threw me for a loop in one of my communities recently, because to explain it will get us down a rabbit hole that is just bad vibes. I don't want to get into, but I guess the main thing I will say is I am sorry to all of you, and I assume kind of all of us who are going through that. I feel like people are emboldened to say things now that they might not have otherwise, and also through a lot of social media and misinformation and disinformation are like believing things that they didn't believe before, and it's making it really hard to like try to make connections in certain spaces these days, which is a real bummer, because I feel like the internet is becoming so horrible in some ways that you want to make these in-person connections, but it can be a little bit harder and sometimes more dangerous. So, yeah, just I'm with all of you on that. I'm going through the same thing, and I wish that we weren't, but I'm glad that we have things like online communities and the friends that we do have in real life and the support systems we have, and we got, you know, each other as we stick through it all. So, and we also have crafts. And as Dan and Phil would say, don't cry, craft. What was I about to look at? Oh yeah, so okay, Dor, so apparently you did go to J.M. Barrie's childhood home in Scotland, and you just forgot you were in Scotland. This is good to know. I gotta go. Been a big fan most of my life. Just call me Walt Disney the way I'm a fan of Peter Pan. I don't know. Speaking of problematic, you know, stories and allegedly authors, although there's a lot of debate around that. But yeah, Peter Pan would be one of those. I don't usually offer up the fact that I'm a fan of Peter Pan, because it is not a great story in terms of values. Melby Toast, congrats on getting Florence and the Machine tickets for April, and I think that we should start off a, not a hype train, but like a happy train, and everyone should write in something in the chat that they are excited about, something good that happened to them recently, something that's bringing them joy. What have you got? Melby got Florence and the Machine tickets. That's a pretty big one. Let me think about mine. I feel like I got a handful. I just gotta remember things. We do have an ad coming up in about 30 seconds. Bill Nye's happy train thought is eating an apple fritter donut. Oh, that sounds so good. I've had a few apple cider donuts the past couple of weeks, and they're so good. So good. So that's a great one. Oh, Door, you act like I don't have plans to go to the Lake District. That is high up there. Oh, Beatrix Potter, awesome. Yeah, no, I wanna go that whole area. Very excited to do that. Meow saw a beautiful and impressive rainbow yesterday. Almost an entire half circle. That is, man, we've gotten a lot of rain here and I haven't seen any rainbows, so that is so awesome. Tom has a new green futon couch coming your way soon. New furniture is exciting. I don't feel like that necessarily needs to be an old person thing. I mean, the old, quote-unquote old, just adult. The adult thing about it is that you can pick out your own furniture sometimes, and that is very exciting. I feel like when you're a kid, it doesn't feel as exciting because you probably weren't a part of the process of, like, getting to choose it. So, I think that is legitimately exciting. Sarah can't share, but has a big one. Okay. Noted. That's a little bit where I was at, too. Oh, the ads are on. Okay, I'll shout out some more. Well, I think everyone else who chatted is still here because you're all subscribers, so I'll keep replying to some of these. Oh, Door made cookies today. Delicious. That's a great one. We're getting some couch recommendations in the chat. Joe says we should check out Mae Martin's comedy tour. They're going to be in DC in March. Oh, that actually sounds great. I might have to look at where they're touring. I know we got a lot of Mae Martin fans who regularly come to these streams. So I'll have to check that out. And Bell Nye is also going and got the meet and greet. Nicely done. Rogan is excited for PAX U coming up in a few weeks. Yeah, I was like, PAX sounds familiar. PAX U I don't think I'd heard of. So it's more on board games and TTRPGs. Tabletop RPG. Okay, yeah. That's exciting. That's really cool that you get to go to that. Oh, we got a recommendation for B. Dylan Hollis's Strawberry Fluffy video, Fluffy Cookies on YouTube. Welcome back from the ads, folks who were away for the ads. And looks like we are getting raided by Positively Crafty. Hello, dearies. Welcome in, everyone from Positively Crafty. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you had fun beating. I was thinking about beating when we were talking earlier about how I don't like doing French knots. And how one hack is you can just put a bead in instead of doing French knots for cross stitch. Well, hello Raiders, welcome, welcome. We were just talking about happy things. We were doing a happy train instead of a hype train. So if any of the Raiders joining want to drop in the chat something that's making you happy, maybe something that you've done recently or something you have to look forward to. For example, Skygem says the new book in Legends and Lattes is coming out next week, and so they have that to look forward to. Welcome into all the Raiders. Ooh, I think it just started raining pretty hard outside right now. Which is cool. Ooh, okay, Positively Crafty, you were beating a holiday ornament. Fun, and lots of good conversation. Well, welcome in to everyone from Positively Crafty's chat. And Positively Crafty, thank you for the follow earlier. I'll definitely go over and check out your channel after the stream. But thank you for joining in. Don't feel like you need to stay. Go get your rest, reset from streaming and beating if you need to. Over here, we're working on an Emerald City cross-stitch. Just getting excited for the second Wicked movie coming out later this month. / celebrating my lifelong love of the original Wizard of Oz books and all things Oz. And we got lots of other people working on all kinds of different crafts in the chat as well. Oh, well, Masked Bandit, thanks for the recommendation. How kind. That's exciting. I love getting to know a lot of different crafters on Twitch and like seeing folks that I've lurked on their streams of as well, so it's very fun. But yeah, we're just doing a little cross stitching here, and might not actually be around for too long, so we're gonna pay it forward with a raid in a little bit here ourselves. But welcome into all of you for now. Oh, my community look just like the ones that you like. Well, thank you, Masked Bandit. I appreciate that, and even more reason to check out all of your streams as well. We had some really good luck with a raid like that a couple weeks ago, where it was like, I didn't know this creator, but I just looked for like an LGBT-friendly crafter, and then she turned out to be like so similar to me and all the interest from folks in the chat, that it was like, was this not staged? And that was May Makes, M-A-Y-E, if anyone is curious. But yeah, welcome in, folks. If any of you are working on a project, doing a little co-crafting tonight, let me know what you're doing. And folks that have been here, let me know how your crafts are chugging along. Ooh, Sarah went to a Wizard of Oz museum earlier in the year and got a plaque. Says Dorothy, I miss Kansas, and Toto, I miss the rains down in Africa. That's good. Which Wizard of Oz museum did you go to? I know there's a handful, I think, across mostly the Midwest. Illinois down to Kansas, mostly. I have not been to any of them. I drove across Kansas on a road trip once, and I was like, there were so many billboards for different Wizard of Oz things that I wanted to stop and go to, but I didn't have time. It's like, I need to go back to Kansas and go to all this Wizard of Oz stuff one day. Tom has finished the Clover, the Outline of the Frog, and one Frog Eye. Well done. That's pretty good. Dor got distracted and has not gotten very far. That's all right. I feel like I haven't gotten very far either. Although, I don't know, once I got going on these lines, I feel like I've been on a roll on these columns of blue in the Munchkin Land grass. Okay, the Wizard of Oz Museum was in Wamego, Kansas. All right, so it was Kansas. Cool. How was it otherwise? You got a cool souvenir, but would you recommend it as a museum? Oh, Masked Bandit is in a game with friends and had a fire and lost everything. Well, I'm very sorry and glad that that was just in the game that happened. Oh, Bell Knight, did you bought the cross stitch at the dollar store? And the needles are blunt, so that's good. Melby is mending pants. Harder to focus on practical stitching than fun stitching. I totally get that. When I am doing things that's like a new something I designed or a complex design, it's hard for me to like watch a new TV show or something, like anything where I like half want to pay attention. The museum is good if you're into learning more about the author, books, but mostly movie. And around the city, they have Toto statues, each painted differently. Oh, kind of like how some places have like cow statues. I guess that's what I was imagining, anyways. Okay, what did I just do? I think I'm here. This looks about right. Lauren's been meal prepping, but finally eating soup and finishing sweater surgery. Nice. Door keeps getting floss stuck in the clamp thingy. I was having that problem earlier, and now I literally pulled the needle out as I said that. Yep, that happens. I think I mentioned earlier on, I have a lot of like clips on this one because I have a lot of extra fabric and I don't currently have a decent method for dealing with that. So I just last minute put a bunch of like bag clips, laundry clips on here. And originally when I started stitching tonight, I kept getting the floss stuck on the clips. So I feel you. Mask Bandit, I am not sure what your how was in reference to, if that was for me. Ah, Limical, well, if you want to share anything you've learned about the extra fabric. I know there's the, what are they called, grime guards? That's kind of like elasticy fabric that you put around, but I don't like the looks of those. I'm just aesthetically not into them, so I'm just not gonna do it. I think part of it is, ooh, that's a good reminder, Sarah. I do need to hydrate. Oh, Mask Bandit, no biggie. That makes a lot of sense. So I will not be concerned about missing that message. Ah, you bought some grime guards. Okay, well, you'll have to let us know how they go. Did binder clips. So here's the thing is I had a couple of years where I was almost exclusively using Q-snaps. And with Q-snaps, I had a lot of luck of just putting the extra fabric like under the snap bit and just like folding it under here. This one's not as good of an example because this is like a much bigger piece of fabric on too small of a Q-snap, but that has worked for me. And this is a Nerge hoop, which is like slightly my first time using it. And as I put this on, I was like, oh no, this is too small for the fabric. And I don't know what to do because I haven't used a hoop like this in a while. So and this was like right before the stream, so I didn't put a lot of thought into it. But that's where I'm at right now. Binder clips. Yeah, I think binder clips would work better than the clothespins that I'm using. You pinch the metal parts of the clips, you can take them out. So oh, you can remove the metal parts so the floss doesn't get caught. Interesting. And Belnai's asking for recommendations for getting creases out of Aida cloth. You totally can iron it. In fact, it is recommended you iron it. Some people will say you should wash it before you iron it, so you can look up advice on hand washing. You just kind of gently do some hand washing with a very small amount of detergent, I think. I have, to be honest, never washed my finished projects, but if you're doing one that like took you a long time and your hands were all over it for like a year, you probably do want to wash it. And then you can iron it. Yeah, Tom, I go straight to it. And as Mask Bandit says, you iron the back side of the stitching. You can also either additionally or instead of put a piece of fabric, just like some plain, white cotton or something, or like a cheesecloth, dish towel, whatever, on top of the pattern, and you can iron that, so you're never ironing directly on top of the stitches. But definitely iron. Oh, good PSA from Sarah. Careful what you wash in case it's hand-dyed fabric. Yeah, there are definitely some types of fabric and some types of floss where the dye can spread. So just do your research before you submerge it in water, so that you don't ruin your finished project. But in theory, one of the best practices is that you do wash it before you iron it. But ironing is totally what you're supposed to do. Masked Bandit uses hair clips with Q-snaps. I was thinking something like that, actually, right before the stream. I was like, I wish I had some clips like that. That kind of seemed like what I would need. Oh yeah, Limical, if you've been stitching at the office, it makes sense that binder clips were the first thing you went for. Ooh, have I done too many here? No, not quite. Almost. Do one more stitch in this column, and that will be what I need here. More ironing tips from Masked Bandit that you press only, don't move it. Oh, I mean, if it's really annoying you to have creases in it, Belnai, you could iron it before. But yeah, we were mostly talking about after. Once you're done with it and, you've gotten creases from being on the hoop a bunch, that's when you would want to iron it. And as we're talking about clips, my clips are now popping off. Well, we'll just leave that for now. But I did just finish this. Cool. Okay. So on the pattern, we are all the way, we've passed 1,700 stitches on the pattern. Not just tonight. that would have been impressive. And then total today. Total today is going to be something around that. Oh, okay. So you already have your Grime Guards, Limical. I wasn't sure if you were waiting for them to arrive, but you're a believer. I mean, maybe I'll try it at some point. I just need to find like a pattern that I like, maybe like a fabric pattern. The creases, I think, if they're right in the middle, I use them to find like where to start the stitch. But I can definitely see how they would bother some folks. Ooh. Oh yeah, go clean and rebuild in your game, Masked Bandit. No worries about lurking. Thanks for being in the chat while you were, and thanks for recommending Positively Crafty come raid over here. Very fun. I think I am going to start wrapping things up, so I think this is probably where we're going to end the Emerald City for today. I think that's pretty fun. We got a lot of progress in the Munchkin Landgrass. And so I'm going to start looking for someone to raid. Sorry for those of you who are now double raiders. Oh yeah, asymmetrical creases need to go because they'll confuse you. But if anyone has recommendations, I'm going to start looking for folks that I might want to raid. But while I do, if anyone has recommendations, I mean, right off the bat, I see someone who is crocheting. And I think something to do with BTS and or Silksong. No, not Silksong tonight. But they're LGBTQA+, so that seems like a good potential raid. I've not made a raid message yet. We need to make a raid message. What are some of the things that we've talked about tonight? I mean, maybe now we just do something about kiwis. Oh, Oz are Wicked themed. Yes, that is the obvious answer, isn't it, Tom? Yeah, we could also we could all say something like "Hello from Emerald City," but what's something a little bit more fun and like wicked vibe? It's a thrillifying. We're raidifying you. Raidify, like RAIDIFY. Raid defying gravity. Yeah, Rogan, that's why I was trying to spell it. I was like, I don't think anyone, including the captions, are gonna know what I'm trying to say here. Get raided. We're from the Emerald City. We're here to stay. Raid Emerald City. This was like me when I was coming up with a notification today. I was like, I want to add something besides just like this play on the song, and I want it to sound fun like the movie. And I like literally looked up a glossary of like all of the Wicked words, and I still didn't come up with anything good. One short raid in the Emerald City. That's actually quite good. I wonder how many people will get it. How many people got my notification? I don't know. Like, got that it was a reference to the lyric. I think maybe one short raid, like, from the Emerald City instead of in, if that doesn't confuse things too much. Because then we can pretend we're coming from the Emerald City, since I was stitching the Emerald City. Meow, that's okay that you didn't get it. That's why I was asking. I was like, is Tom the only one who got it? Okay, I think the official raid message will be one short raid from the Emerald City, but literally just say anything about the Emerald City you want. So if you don't get that joke, you don't have to say it. You can just say anything of hi from the Emerald City, anything from the Emerald City. But the official one will be one short raid from the Emerald City, like the song. Okay, okay, that was on my end. I was like, I had the stream open. So I think we're gonna stream, or we're gonna raid Ritoto. Oh, which is perfect. I don't know if their username is based on Toto. But their channel name is RET Toto, Ritoto. And I've like lurked on their streams in the past, and I remember them being pretty cool. And they're doing some crocheting and some co-crafting tonight. So I'm just setting up to do a little raid over there, and let's make sure they have the ability to raid. I feel like I've seen them be raided before. Okay, yes, cool. Yay, Sky knows Ritoto! Yeah, I think they're definitely a bigger channel than me. Actually should check pronouns. I'm saying they, but it might be he. Alright. Say anything about being from Emerald City. And thank you all so much for being here tonight. Thank you for all of the subscriberships, all the subs and follows, and the hype train. It was really fun tonight. It was fun being with all of you in our post-Halloween stream world. Reminder again that I will not be streaming next Monday. I'll see if there's another day that I can pop up. I'll add that to the Twitch schedule, and I'll try to post about it on Instagram stories. You can follow me there, Jack is not a bird, on Instagram stories. Also, I did not mention it at all, but I put out a real big YouTube video. I meant to talk about that a bunch. I worked on it for a very long time, and it is currently the worst performing YouTube video that I've posted in several years. So if you haven't seen it yet, I would love if you would go to watch it. It is about how Halloween historically has always been queer, and why a lot of like queer and trans and gay people love Halloween, because it's kind of baked into the DNA of Halloween. And yeah, it's something that I care about a lot, and I would love if anyone's interested, go watch it, even though Halloween is over. It would mean a lot to me. Yeah, YouTube algorithm is me, and I haven't been consistent for the last few years, so it's great. But oh, thank you so much for those of you who watched it and really liked it. I appreciate your kind words. Oh, you are all so lovely. Thank you so much. I love so many of you have already watched. Yeah, rewatch on a private browser. Totally should. Help me out with the algorithm. This one's struggling with the algorithm so much. Okay, well, thank you all for watching the video. Thank you for watching the stream. I hope you all have wonderful luck with your crafts, and have many more happy things happen this week, and things to look forward to and be grateful for. And I am grateful for all of you. And let's go raid Ratoto and join in on their stream. Here we go. All right. Oh wait, there's a countdown. We're counting down, and then we're gonna raid. Bye everyone.